this L322. The issue that I'm having is in the past 5,000 miles or so, it's developed kind of a weird wear pattern on the tires. The outside edge is wearing more than the inner tread. Now these tires only have about 10,000 miles on them, and the outer edge, this side is not so bad. If we take a look at the right rear tire, which I have off of the vehicle, you can see how the inner side of the wheel, you can see the tread's fairly good, and the outer edge is completely worn out. So what that tells me is that there is an alignment issue on this. Now again, this just started kind of doing this in the last 5,000 to 6,000 miles, and it's completely wearing out that tire on the outer edge. Now the left one is just starting to do that also. You can see that difference right here. You can see how the tire is riding on one edge or the other. Left side is not too bad. Right side is way worse than this side. So again, what that tells me is there's some type of an alignment issue. There is a camber adjustment in the back of these, meaning the lean of the wheel in or out, that can be adjusted. Now those things just don't loosen up and change on you unless you did something with the suspension. What I'm thinking is there's some looseness in the suspension. There are some bushings in the control arms, and those are common on these to wear out. So let's check those real quick. Now underneath the vehicle, you can see there is a bushing on the inside of this. That's called a knuckle bushing. Lower bushing here, and your camber adjustment is on top of the knuckle here. You can see this here, and these tend to wear out, and then they'll cause some play. They'll have some play in the suspension itself, making the tire lean one way or another, and that's my issue. I was able to stick my pry bar in between here, and it's kind of hard to tell on camera, but there is movement there. There's more of that on the lower bushing. There's also bushings back here on the control arms. This is the rear bushing. There's also the front bushing here, if you can see on the control arm. So you want to take your pry bar and kind of move things around and see if where the play is. Now in my case, I did discover both of my bushings on the outer knuckle here, the bottom and upper. It's got quite a bit of play in it, and that's what's causing my abnormal wear on the tire. Check all the bushings, check for play. You know, stick the pry bar in between the bushings and the control arm and see if you can see any movement. And those again are very common on these to wear out. So again, on this particular truck, my knuckle bushings or the hub bushings, upper and lowers, the outer ones are all worn out. So we'll be replacing those on this truck, and we'll do a separate video on that. My front tires are fine. They're wearing fairly even. Sometimes you do run into the fronts wearing out uneven just like that also, and in most cases that's going to be ball joints or other front end parts. Here's a little better look at the bushings with the wheel off. You can see the upper one right here, and of course there's a lower one at the bottom. Now I have the wheel off, the truck is on jack stand, and I have another jack under the control arm, taking the weight off a little bit. So you know, if you stick a pry bar in between it's definitely hard to tell on camera, but this side is not as bad. I still have a little bit of a side-to-side movement on here. You can hopefully see that. A lot of it's from the bottom also. So we'll definitely be replacing the knuckle bushings on this vehicle. So stay tuned for that. I thank you for watching.